pages.
It's 6:30 a.m. Time to get into what the newspaper headlines are saying today, the 23rd in the month of December 2024. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Vanguard newspapers, the Punch newspapers, the Guardian, the Leadership, and the Daily Trust newspapers.
Please note these headlines are only read as published and have got nothing to do with Nigeria info, so ensure that you have the facts, details, and every information that you need even while you react to the headlines. We are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. Let's get started with the Guardian newspaper. Distrust others slow financial inclusion amid 4.3 trillion naira outside banks. 18,000 pensioners yet to receive benefits as Pencom laments low funds. Student loan to be restricted to high demand courses. Atiku criticizes 2025 budget, warns of deepening economic challenges. Experts warns against use of urine, breast milk to treat eye defects. North, not parasitic, governance needs prudence, says Undume. Defections from Labour Party won't stop, Obi may dump party, says Okupe. Delayed salaries hamper Yuletide for 70,000 federal civil servants. Ipman says members will sell fuel at 935 naira per litre from today. Federal government lifts ban on mineral exploration in Zamfara. And that's it on The Guardian.
And now let's take a quick look at what the Punch newspapers is saying on the front page this morning. Wife flees after setting Ogun Cup ablaze during disputes. 10 ministries get over 1 trillion naira each in 2025 budgets. Why governors demanded further talks on tax bills, says Makinde. How terrorists smuggled Libya gun truck into Zamfara, says the federal government. Ex-convict nabbed with South African-bound drug at Lagos airport. Tinubu's 50% transport reduction scheme may begin Tuesday. Petrol to sell at 935 naira per litre from today, says Ipman. Tinubu repeating Buhari's borrowing mistakes, says Atiku. Police deny killing hunger protesters, demand amnesty's apology. "15 arrested for public disturbance in Bauchi." Lagos Prince demands hoodlums sacking from community. APC may lose voters to lopsided appointments, according to Southeast National Vice Chair. Abgab aspirant joins Anambra South Senate seat race. 200 billion naira contractual debts attempt to disparage Obaseki, says aide. And finally, on the Punch, PDP expels suspended National Vice Chairman Ali Odefa. These and many more you'd find on the Punch newspapers this morning.
Moving on now to what the Daily Trust has got. 2025 budget scrapped. Niger Delta sports ministries get 2.3 trillion naira. Federal government lifts a ban on mining exploration activities in Zamfara 5 years after. Yuletide, airfares skyrocket amidst operators' capacity crunch. Despite petrol price cut, NNPCL stations, others sell above 1,000 naira per litre. 13 killed in Edo accidents last month, FRSC. Husbands can no longer impregnate wives. Women protest pollution by Shell. North not dependent on other regions. Undume. Federal government to commence commissioning of Coastal Road Superhighway in May. 2025 proposed budget recipe for economic stagnation. Atiku. And that's it on the Daily Trust.
And now moving on to the Vanguard. On the front page of the Vanguard newspapers, investors rake over 1 trillion naira in 5 days. British woman begins speaking Italian after waking up from stroke. Community calls for justice over death of member in police cell. Governor bags UNN Doctor of Laws degree. PENCOM to rejig informal sector pension for better impact. Tax reform bills, why we insist on withdrawal, says Undume. Hardship, Nigerians now serve Agbo Jedi at Owambez. I have never criticized Tinubu. A good man doesn't spoil another good man, says Dr. Doyin Okupe. 2025 budget lacks reforms, bereft of fiscal discipline, says Atiku. Anambra 2025, no INEC judiciary can stop people's will, says Val Ozigbo. 290 witnesses for Edo Governorship Election Tribunal adjourns to 2025 January. End bad governance protests. Police demand apology from Amnesty International over false killing claims. Criminal negligence, poverty behind deadly stampedes, claiming 105 lives in Nigeria, according to Falana. And finally, on the Vanguard, amid intense competition, petrol price drops below 900 naira. These and many more headlines you'd find on the Vanguard newspapers this morning.
And our final stop is leadership. It's got this major story. 2024, inflation, forex volatility mark growth across sectors. Police dismiss reports on hashtag end bad governance. Amid tariff hike, subsidy hits 1.477 in 9 months. That is 1.477 trillion naira in 9 months. Food prices, transport fares soar as Nigerians plan low-key Yuletide. 2025 budget, advocacy group decries 88 billion naira allocation for housing. Minister reiterates customs role in actualizing 48 trillion naira 2025 budget. Yoruba Council denounces impostor, backs National Youth Conference. Customs CG Adewale Adeniyi is Public Service Person of the Year 2024. 403 stranded Nigerians return from Niger Republic. North economically viable, according to Senator Undume. And that's it on leadership this morning.
Time to get to your reactions. The numbers to call are 0700-951-0000 or 0809-597-4869. On WhatsApp, it's 080-999-30137. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja, so you can watch on there and drop your comments as well.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Yes, my name is Adiola from Bisalai.
Go ahead, Adiola.
It is very unfortunate that up to now, federal government has not paid federal workers their December salary. And federal government knows that these people will celebrate Christmas and New Year. So why are they delaying their salary? This is unfair. This is not good for a government, for a government that calls herself democratic. This is bad. And these political officers that have collected salaries, allowances with other goodies, even though they don't spend their salary, they don't spend their allowance. So how much is the salary that you are delaying December salary at this period that you know prices of food items, food prices have gone up? This is unfair. Then as for article talking about loan, Nigerians should understand that this administration is a concentration of Buhari borrowed money, and this government has started again. In fact, I don't know. Look at the money they are putting on this country. I got with the laborers from this Republic leader.
All right.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my lovely sister, Madam Gabriella, and my elder brother on North Central, Mr. Itodo.
Welcome.
Happy New Week.
Happy New Week.
My lovely brother on North Central, living in Kuba, Federal Union, Maladuna. Tinubu repeat Buhari foreign loan by Atiku. Yes, Tinubu tell us now. He said he continue what Buhari stop. And the two is follow Buhari plan. One side appointment, borrowing, traveling, insecurity, and many data collapse. That's no good way. They come and borrow this money and share among themselves. And the common man are suffering and that every day. Increase NEPA tariff, increase fuel, increase tax. So it's not so far, Mr. Tiku, where our prayer, we will just keep patient. Anybody wants to keep serving, we should be ready for Tinubu.
All right.
If people come out to the serving, they just in trouble.
Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. I greet you.
I greet you too. What's your name, sir?
I greet you. I hope it's my name. I greet all listeners. About inflation, that's the hunger and the poverty in the country. Nigerians, we should bear it. Yes. Not only bear it, prayer. All this prayer, me, I don't believe much in all this prayer. If Nigeria can unite and kick APC out of power, that's the only thing. See, if we pray, your prayer no work. You do the work of unity. There is power in unity if Nigerians can unite. See, all this complaining cannot, it can't help us. If Nigeria can unite and kick out APC, that's the end of it. No need of too much prayer and organizing prayer. The religious leader may tell you, come and pray. That if you gather, they are correct tithe offering for you. That's their target. Then, issue of article, talking of borrowing. More you pray, more you borrow, more you enslave yourself. It's true. But I think it's part of our problem. Yes, he told us that 2014 and 2015 it belongs to us, that we should not vote to Jonathan, and they kick Jonathan out. Now Tinubu is here. We should bear it, all of us. Let us suffer and bear in it. Thank you.
All right.
God bless you.
Have a good day as well. Now, this brings us to the question, if parties are really the problem of Nigeria, or the people, the attitude that they have to the country and, the mandate giving to them. Because half the time we blame the parties. But we've seen over time that there's been like a cross-carpeting from one party to the other. Now, the Labour Party is going through that, where a handful of elected officials are jumping ship and moving to other parties and leaving the Labour Party somewhat wondering what exactly it might have done wrong. Now, it has had leadership issues in the past few months, which has been trying to, sort out. And the belief right now is the presidential candidate of the last elections might also jump ship and go back to his previous party or any other party that might be viable for him if he decides to run in 2027.
I mean, yeah, we had this conversation last week as well. Again, at the end of the day, are we talking political party? Are we talking the individuals? If you take a look at, the political scene right now in Nigeria, we've had the same people, recycling over the past years, from administration to administration, from tenure to tenure. It's been the same people, the same faces. So if we're talking a political party, that's blindsiding ourselves, because at the end of the day, we're talking about the same people. So are we looking at an overhaul for the individuals, Or are we just looking to favoritisms in terms of party and, deciding not to look at the main problem, which is, the people in
So what would you say is the problem right now? Would it be Nigerians being the problem? Literally, reaping the consequences of their actions and inactions, or the parties or the people who are in charge of these parties? Who are we blaming? Because somebody needs to, we know what the problem is, but then facing the problem head on tends to be the issue.
Why do we have to push blame on anybody when we know that at the end of the day, the system needs a complete overhaul? And
who is the system?
The people, obviously. The people. So if we're saying, we need a complete overhaul of a system, where do we even begin? How do we begin? If we're for example, if we're going to be tackling corruption as example, where do you even begin to tackle the corruption? If you bring it all the way down the ladder to the citizen as in Nigeria, and you find even as Nigerians who are complaining, in their own right, on their level, they're still corrupt. So where do you begin in fighting corruption?
Let's take some thoughts on the live feed right now. We're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. Good morning, James Ame and Anyam Ajiji Sherry, who's watching live from Sherry Ekon in Jos East. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. And on Facebook?
On Facebook, Biyama Chang Habila says, good morning to you all. President Tinubu is not doing anything different from the past administration since he's on the track of borrowing to enslave the country, because the Bible says the borrower is a slave to the lender. Also, Francis Omaga Namani from Amagonze in Enugu State says, good morning. Thank God it's another beautiful morning. The incessant cases of stampede deaths being recorded during the sharing of palliatives have shown the height of poverty, hunger, and hardship in the country. This is very unfortunate. Government must do something about it, and may God help us. Dave Malinze, good morning. Shadrach Adodo, good morning to you as well. Okwando Obina says it's very unfortunate that leaders in Nigeria have abandoned the masses in their speedy chase of vanity. See, Tinubu's administration has left the Nigerian masses to suffer and die in hunger and poverty. The current deaths are all orchestrated by the harsh, not properly thought out policies of this administration. Godfrey Lomo says, good morning. Merry Christmas to you as well.
All right.
Mwazu John Lasisi from Buari says, husbands can no longer impregnate their wives due to air pollution. May the resources God blessed us with not turn into a cost. Let there be a cleanup ASAP. Mwazu, thank you so much for all your thoughts.
All right, 6:47 right here. We're going through the headlines and getting your reactions. You can call in or send a WhatsApp message to share your reactions. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Asan Tata Medola, local state.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, let me take from the Indini that Lord they never benefit anything from the South. I don't know, because everybody has everything to provide. And I want to take from the fuel. Let me tell you, most of these stations cannot never do good in this country, because federal government has said they are going to sell fuel at the 930 naira. If you go most of these stations, they cannot rebut it, because they know that the truth is only one. And I can assure you, nobody above God, if you God decide to bring the fuel around 200, nobody can stop it. And inshallah, this country is going to be good. Inshallah, bye-bye for now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Itodo and Gabriella. My name is Emeka.
Good morning, Emeka. Go ahead.
I'm honestly, when I saw that budget, it's outrageous, that borrowing 13 trillion, and we are already at the threshold of over 110 trillion we are owing, and then we are servicing. Look at the servicing. 15 trillion will be used to service debt, and they are still borrowing. And the most shocking and most unbelievable is that you cannot see what this money, the one that Buhari borrowed, what have we seen? The ways and means 33 trillion that CBN printed. What is it? Look at the roads.
So Emeka, quick question before you go on with your thoughts, so we can get a clear picture of what you're trying to pass across to us. Are you saying there's something wrong with taking loans, or the fact that you can't seem to see anything out of those loans that have been taken so far? And in what ways do you feel the government can ensure that we get dividends of whatever loans and we're able to pay back in good time?
Stop the borrowing. Let them stop the borrowing. Let us use. Look at we have the custom and the tax FIRs is generating more. The problem we have is to block the leakages. It's too much corruption. This budget is padded. 49 trillion at the end of the month. There will still be remember there will still be supplementary budget. Do you know that we have 2 budgets running now? Do you know that the 2024 budget is still running? Do you know that the 2023 budget supplementary is still running? And then they will say pass this one by January. It's certainly. And at the end of the day, you don't see anything. The commensurate impacts. It's unbelievable. And then the 2027 is coming. Election is coming. See, the only time we have is 2025 and 2026 January. That's the only time this government have, because by May, election have started, primaries and this thing. What are we doing? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts, Emeka. We know the Senate has extended implementation for the 2024 budget till June, right? That's on the side, right? There are many questions that have been asked as to why that should even happen in the first place, and if indeed any difference will be made. But now the question is, we've been able to lay to rest that taking loans is not a bad thing, but the concern is being able to block leakages. And I was listening to the thoughts of a lawmaker from Kaduna State who said that a lot of these MDAs keep buying new cars, buying utensils every other year, and these things don't go bad. So why are they buying new ones every year? How can we ensure that we block these leakages? Are people who go on to waste these funds called out? Do we see any maybe punishments for wasting funds? Who keeps track of these things? If one side is able to get away with it, the other side might go on to say, well, if you can get away with it, might as well, do the same thing, because you can't tell me to stop something and then you are doing the very same thing. So that tends to be a bit of a concern when we bring about the fact that blocking leakages. What are these leakages in the first place, and who is to blame? What would you call as being frivolous spending?
I mean, one of the problems that we have in Nigeria, especially in the government, is lack of that accountability. We've bickered Nigerians have been bickering for a long time for accountability from these leaders when it comes to spending. I mean, if you're taking a look at some of the problems that we had in major sectors in Nigeria, education, for example, see what's been going on with the ASU and the government back and forth for over how much. Meanwhile, you find that the budget, there's over 9 billion naira budgeted for international travels, for the presidency or for the Senate, for feeding, etc. But
they have to feed.
They have to feed.
Hold on.
To that, how much do you spend in a year?
But they have to feed, right?
How much do you spend in a year to feed, Itodo?
Man, I need to look at that. What happened this year?
I mean, at the end of the day, like the last caller said, there are questions to be asked. Nobody is saying starve, but we're saying, do you need 9 billion naira for international travels?
Do you need to be going anywhere? But
of course, the president
need to
has
have these meetings
around.
And exactly.
They do, but the question is, who is holding them accountable to these monies that have been budgeted? That is the question. Who is holding them accountable? If you're saying I have to travel, of course, the presidency has to make international travels. That is a fact. But how much do you need to spend in a whole year? That would amount to over 9 billion naira.
So are you saying maybe he should opt for virtual meetings as opposed to spending that much traveling? Because it takes a lot to maintain the entourage and the jets and all of that.
That's not even the point. The point is, why 9 billion? If we want to actually do the math, how much do you need for international travels for a year? Look at the past 2024. How many times has the presidency traveled this year? How much logistics was put into that? Mm-hmm. Would you say that you need over 9 billion naira for international travels for 1 year? We're not even talking about the health. We're not talking about the feeding. We're not talking about, logistics or maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about wardrobe allowance that run into billions and billions and billions of naira. So nobody is saying don't put all these things into consideration. Of course they should be. But who is holding them accountable to these figures that are being called, that are being included in the budgets? And I think at the end of the day, it just makes you see that we still have a long way to go, because if sectors like education and I mean, right now there's been a lot of work going on with the agricultural sector. You might say, okay, that's good. We only want to see like the results, but see what's going on in the educational sector. Look at the health sector, for example, that are still bickering for how much. And we can't even provide such amounts of monies, but we have these monies budgeted, approved for other things that are not are not much of a priority as you would find other sectors that actually have these pressing needs.
We're going to a quick breather right now. We have the news at 7 o'clock coming through, and afterwards we'll come back and get more reactions to the headlines. You can catch up on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja.
Wake up to us. Go to bed with us. All day, night. On your Let's Talk station, 95.1 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. This.
This is Nigeria Info.